What's up everyone? Welcome back to my 4-star school YouTube channel. In today's lesson, we are continue working on this NFT marketplace application using the Flutter. In the last lesson, we have finished the profile page. So in today's lesson, we are going to implement this detail page. If you are new to my channel, feel free to reach out to my channel page and you will find a Dart programming language tutorial, Flutter tutorial, and also Flutter UI from scratch tutorial. So don't forget to subscribe to my channel, sum up my content, as well as open the notification so you won't miss out the latest Flutter tutorial. Okay, without further ado, let's get started. So first, let's open the Visual Studio Code in our design file. We are going to create a detail.dar file under the detail folder and find these custom grid item. So let's back to Visual Studio Code. I'm going to create a detail.dar and then create a widgets folder for the detail page. And in here, I'm going to use a stateless widget, call it detail page, right? And also import a library. Okay. And I'll replace this one with scaffold widget, scaffold, and you have a body attribute. Going to play a center widget with the child text widget and indicate it's a detail page. Okay, I think this should be here. Okay, let's save. And then we're going to find this art item. So when I click this art, you'll navigate to the detail page. I think it should be inside this custom grid.dar file, and it should be here, which is this container. And I'm going to wrap a custom widget gesture detector and implement the onTab attribute. So when tab these are I'm going to use navigator dot of context dot push to our detail page, and I'm going to use a material page route. In this case, I'm going to implement this required attribute, which is this builder, and actually you will receive a context, and I'm going to return a detail page, right? Yeah, I think that's it. And we need to import library as well. Okay, and let's save for now. Let's test it. So when I click this one, it should be navigate to the detail page. Yes. Okay, I think it works. And then we can start from this point. So first, I think in the detail page, we're going to pass this art object because we have a list of art and we can use the index to access each element. So let's back to this file. I'm going to declare art object. We should import library as well. And here is this.r. So we can save. So in here we're going to pass this index here. Okay, so let's save, and we are able to access the R in our data page. and then open our design file. So in here I'm going to use NestedScrollView as well. We have this tab bar, so I consider using DefaultTabController, and inside the DefaultTabController we have a NestedScrollView. So this one should be a Sliver app bar, since we scroll down and this will dismiss this background image. So I consider using a Sliver app bar, and this one is just a normal container but wrapped with Sliver 2-box adapter, and this one is a TabBar and TabBarView. Okay, so let's back to the detail page, and first we're going to change the background for the scaffold, and I'm going to change to white, so background color, use white color, and then for its body, I'm going to replace this whole center widget with DefaultTabController. I'm going to implement this length, so length will be 3, and we have a 3 item here. And also for its trial, I'm going to use NestedScrollView. Okay, NestedScrollView. So inside this NestedScrollView, we must implement its header Sliver builder. I'm going to receive a build context, which is context, and also the boolean is called inner box scroll, and we are going to return so just make an empty container for now. So we should remove the constant keyword. Okay, I think it's not going to work. So we also have a required body attribute. So for its body, also place empty container for now. The reason we have an arrow here, because when you move your mouse, you will notice actually it will return a list of widgets, but we return a container, so it gives us an error. So in this case, we can return a list of widgets, right? So we remove the error. So we are going to place inside this. So let's back to design file. We're going to use our Sliver app bar with this background image. So first we're going to use a Sliver app bar. In this case, in the Sliver app bar, we can set its elevation to 0, and also expanded height. I consider give it 330 for its background color. We're going to use our button color. By this part, I'm going to import library because this button color came from the colors star. Okay, so the next one is leading attribute. I'm going to write a method because those two items very similar. So I'm going to write a method which is called build icon. Okay, so I'm going to implement this build icon. Create a method in this build icon, and we're going to pass the icon data here. Okay, so also icon data name icon, right? So, and also if you notice, when this one can go back to our profile page. So we're going to use a navigator. In order to use navigator, we must pass the context. So I'm going to receive a build context as well. Okay, so in here, and we are going to pass the context and also icons dot arrow back iOS outlined it. Okay, let's back to this build icon. So we are going to return icon button. In this icon button, we have the required attribute, which is this onPress method, and also the icon attribute. And here I'm going to use icon. Inside this icon, I will pass the icon, and also change its color to black, and the size change to 20. Okay, and also I'm going to change its splash radius, because the default the splash radius will be very large. So I'm going to make it smaller. So in here I'm going to set the splash radius to 25, so we can save it again. So in this case it's much better now. And here let's see, we are going to implement it is onPress method as well. onPress will use a navigator dot of context dot pop. Okay, so let's save, and when you click this button, you are back to the profile page. Okay, seems really good, right? So we can use this method to build our search icon as well, but because the search icon, we are not going to make it back to the profile page, so we're going to use another in the flag. So I will call it back equals false, right? By default, it's going to have a false value. If it is true, okay, so in here we're going to check if the back, then we're going to give this one, otherwise just disable this button, right? So we can use for this build method, build icon for our this one as well. Okay, so let's use this one, and I think we're going to place it in our actions, and here I'm going to set this back to true. Okay, for our actions, and also call this build icon. So inside this build icon, I am going to place the context, and also icons dot more words outlined it, right? So let's save, and we have this icon as well, but we disable the onPress method, so it's not going to back to our profile page, but only this back button works. Okay, we can move to the next part, which is this background image, and I'm going to place the background image inside this Sliver app bar, but we have one more attribute, which is the flexible space. Then I'm going to use this flexible spacebar. Right, inside this flexible spacebar, I have this background attribute, and I'm going to call it detail banner, and we receive this art object. and I'm going to create this custom widget as well. So let's back to this widget folder. I'm going to create another file which is called DefaultTabController. So inside this detail banner.r, I'm going to create a stateless widget. Create detail banner. Okay, so import library. Okay, and also we have a art object. We receive it, so we're going to place it in our constructor as well. Going to import library. Okay, so inside this detail banner, I'm consider using the stock widget because we have this one. It's better to use a position widget. We can position, set the button and right. Okay, so here we're going to use a stock widget. For the stock widget, we have this children attribute. So inside the children, we have the background image, and another is this favorite icon. So for our background image, I'm going to use a container. So for a container, we have a color. Color is a white color for its background, right? And also set some padding. Going to use a constant edge or set to 15. And for its height, going to give it 400, and also width going to set double max vanity. And for its trial, in here I'm going to use the clip rect widget. Going to give it border radius using circular set to 30. And also for this trial, I'm going to use image.ss. I'm going to pass the r dot image, right? And also we set it is feed attribute. I'm going to use cover, box feed cover. Okay, and also so we can import this library to see the result. Okay, let's import it and save. Then you're able to see this image shown here, right? Okay, so back to this detail banner. We're going to implement the favorite icon after this container. So I consider using a position widget. Right, we have the trial, which is required. So first, I'm going to set right to 30 and also button to 30. For it is trial, I'm going to use a container widget. I'm going to set it is padding, edge inset.or, just set to 10, and also declaration, because we're going to use change it is shape to circle. So we're using box decoration. Inside the box decoration, we change it is color, colors.y, and also change the shape, which is box shape circle, right? You can use a constant keyword here. Okay, and then for this icon trial, I'm going to use icon. So we have icons. Going to use a material icon. Icons, favorite outline. Okay, which is this one, and also change the color. Colors.pink, right? So let's save. Okay, now you see we have these favorite icon shown here. Also, we add constant keyword before this icon. Okay, So let's save. Now we have this favorite icon. Yeah, you can scroll up, right? Okay, so let's back to our detail.r, and I think we have one more attribute need to set to true, which is paint. So when I set to true, next time when I scroll down, this bar will stick on the top, right? Yeah, so which is the result I want. Okay, so next we're going to add some built-in animation for this image, right? So by default you will show from bottom to top. So I'm going to use a hero widget. So in here, let's see, I'm going to wrap this clip red with a widget called hero, and we're going to use this tag. So for its tag, I consider using just the r dot. Okay, we can use image URL, which is unique, right, in this case. Okay, so let's back to this detail banner. So in here, we can also wrap the hero widget, and we have this tag as well. And here I can use our image URL, right? So let's save. Okay, let's see this hero animation. So when I click this one, you have a very smooth transition, you see. Okay, so you just have this tag, you wrap your widget, the same widget, right? You see in this custom grade we have this clip red widget, and we wrap hero widget outside this clip red. So we do the same in this detail banner as well. So then we will achieve this very smooth transaction. Okay, very cool, huh? So I think we finished this TabBar Sliver TabBar, and next we're going to implement this detail information for this collection art. So for the next part, I'm going to create another file which is called art info. So let's back to Visual Studio Code. Under this widgets folder, I'm going to create art info. There, right, and it should be a stateless widget. But we also receive the art object, so we can use the information stored in the art object. So I'm going to receive this art, and we need to import library and make this art, implement this constructor. Okay, import library. So back to our detail.r, and under this Sliver TabBar, we're going to use a Sliver toolbox adapter, and inside this Sliver toolbox adapter, we're going to use our art info, where we pass the art object, right? Let's import library. Okay, so let's save and close those two unused files, so we can start from this point. So let's back to design file. So first we're going to set some padding, and then we're using a column widget. Inside the column widget we maybe use the row widget, right? Okay, so let's back to this file. So first I'm going to get the padding for this container. I'm going to use edit in sets.org 20 is imnat, and then for its child I'm going to use a column widget. Inside we place children. I also need to change its alignment to cross start, right? Cross alignment start. Okay, and for its children, so first would be a text widget. The text came from ars.name. Right, and also we're going to style it. When you save, you will see the text is very small, and we need to style it. So let's put some text style. I'm going to change the font weight to bold, and also change the font size to 22. Okay, and we need to make it constant. Okay, let's save. Now it looks much better. And then we're going to implement this one. So for this one, I'm going to create a method which is called build icon text. Then I can use it to build this one as well. So after this text widget, I'm going to keep some space. I'm using the sized box. For height, keep it 20. It should have a constant keyword. And also we use the road widget for its children. I'm going to use a method which is called build icon text. Okay, and then we implement this method. So for this build icon text, and I'm going to so let's first return anything. So remove this arrow first. Okay, so inside this build icon text, and let's see the design file. We have the avatar on the left side and also the text on the right. So it should be a road widget. We have a container on the left side and a column in the right. So what we're going to pass is this image URL, right? And also the padding, some padding, because this one we have a padding, but in here we don't have padding. So we're going to pass the title as well, and its name. Okay, so let's back to this file. I'm going to use a road widget. Right, inside row widget, we have a child. Okay, I'm going to align it is to start, which is going to align this way. Align start. Okay, so for its children, we're going to place a container, and we have a height 40 and also weight 40 as well. And for its padding, going to use htinsize.org, probably the custom padding. Right, so for this one we don't have padding, but this one we have padding. Okay, so we're going to receive this. So first is image, and then it's padding, right? So the padding should be a double. Okay, so the third one is title, and the 4 is just a text. Okay, the title and text. Okay, that's what we need, and we have a decoration. We're using box decoration. We change its color, which is a gray 200, and also the shape change to circle, right? And also we implement this child. We're going to use image access, and we place this image URL here. Okay, this is for our container, and then we have a gap between those two. So I use size box, set to 10. Okay, so use a constant keyword, and then we have a column widget. Right, so inside this column, we're going to change the scroll alignment to start, and then we change going to implement this children attribute. We have two texts. First one is the title, and then we have in the text. So it should be a title. Right, we're going to style it using constant text style. Okay, and we change the color. And then for the second one, should be a text, but you also need to change this style. Text style. I'll change the font weight to font weight bold, and also change font size to 16, and the height to 1.5. Okay, let's save. I think that's it, right, for this build icon text. So we're going to build our first icon text. So for the first icon text, and I'm going to pass the profile image, right? So where can we get the profile? We can just in here. Okay, final profile. We can use profile equals profile and generate. Okay, first we need to import library and also generate profile. Then we can get the profile, so we need to remove the constant keyword here, and we can use the profile dot, I think it's image URL, right? And this is for the image, and then we don't have padding, so I set to 0. And also the title should be creator, and for the text just profile dot Twitter substring from 1. Okay, so let's save. You're able to see the first one coming up. Okay, so for the second one, so I'm going to give some space. So width set to 100. I'm going to use a constant keyword before it. And for our second build icon text, we're going to pass the icon. So the image should be SS images pic. Okay, so this is for icon, and for the padding, probably 8 is enough. For the title, it should be current bit, and also for the text, going to use this r.price. Okay, I think that's all. We can save. Okay, now it looks much similar like this prototype. So we finished that part as well. So next one, I'm going to implement this description. So for the description, it's pretty simple, and we just find this row. After this row widget, we're going to give some space. You can use size box. So it should be high. Set to 25. And after that, we have a text widget, and we can access to our description, and we style it a little bit using constant text style. Okay, so change the word spacing set to 3, and also height set to 1.3, and color change to color dot black 87. Okay, so let's save. So next we're going to implement this TabBar and also the TabView, right? So we can test it. So when you move up, this background image will dismiss. Okay, yeah, pretty good. Before we implement this tab view, we're going to create a bidder class first. So let's create this bidder model. So we're going to call it bidder.dar, and we have a class bidder, right? And also let's see, we have a name, and we have a image, we have a date, we have price. So for the image, I don't have a image, but I'm going to use a random color instead. So I declare a list of random color. I'm going to use that as this one. So let's create a name, and okay, should be date, time, and price, and okay, I think that's it. So create the constructor. First is the name. So the second one is the day, and third is the price. Okay, that's all. And going to create two static methods. One is to generate a list of bidder, which is here, and another static method generate a list of history, which is this one. Okay, so let's save, and we back to our detail.dar. Under the Sliver toolbox adapter, I'm going to consider to use a Sliver persistent header, right? And because I want this TabBar stick on the top. Okay, so inside we have a delegate, which is required. We can use a tab Sliver delegate we create, and we're going to pass TabBar, right? So here, and let's create a list of tabs. So I'm going to declare a list of tabs for equals will be tabs equals info and birth and history. Okay, and we can remove the constant keyword here. Okay, and for the tab bar, I'm going to use the TabBar widget. Right, inside the TabBar widget, I'm going to change the label color to black, and also change unselected label color to colors dot rate. You can use 400, and also change indicator color to colors dot black, and also scroll set to true, and then going to change its label padding using edge inset only. So for left set to 0, and for right it should be 40. So the reason, because you see this one don't have much padding. Okay, we can adjust a little bit later. So I just set 0, maybe a little bit more, probably 5. Okay. Okay, that's for this label padding, and we have these tabs which is required. So here I'm going to use the tabs we define, and using this map function. Okay, then to list. So inside this map function, we're going to return a tab. Each tab we have a child, so which is a text widget, and we're going to style it constant text style, because we want to make it a little bit bigger, so we set to 16. Let's save. Okay, now it looks very good, right? Very similar like this prototype. Okay, very good. So next we're going to implement this bidder list. So back to this widgets folder, I'm going to create another file called bidder list.tar, and it should be a stateless widget. Okay, and I'm going to import library as well. So here, as we did in the last video, and we're going to receive the scroll key, and also a list of bidder. Okay, right, it's a bidder list. So we need to import library as well, and here in the constructor use scroll key and the bidder list, right? But we need to go back to this R. So I think in the profile under, so first we're going to change this one. For R we have a list of bidder. I'm going to call it first. Also list of bidder history. Okay, we're going to import library and list of birds and list of history. Okay, let's save. And then in here, in profile, we're going to implement that. So let's see, after this description, I'm going to create one more attribute, which is bidder. I'm going to use the generate. So first we're going to import library. So we're going to import library. We're using generated bidder. Also for send for the history. So we can just copy that. Right here as well. Okay, here as well. Okay, sorry. Here as well. This one. Here. 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 Okay, let's save. Usually you will fetch those data from your own backend, right? So since this is only a UI tutorial, I just hard coded those values. So let's back to this bidder list, and here we're going to receive a list of bidder, right, inside our art object. So in here we can return list view dot separator. Okay, and for it is item count should be bidder list length. For it is separator should be index size box. Going to use height 15 constants. Okay, and for it is item builder, I'm going to also return bidder tag, which we're going to create later we're going to receive a single bidder object, right? Something like that. And also we're going to set the padding using constant edge inset, or 20 is enough. And also we're going to set the key, which is page storage key. We pass our scroll key here, and I think we don't need this container, so we can remove it. Okay, so that's for this bidder list. Now we're going to create another file, which is this bidder card. So let's create this bidder card. And it should be a stateless widget as well, and let's call it bidder card. Okay, and as I mentioned, I'm going to receive a single bidder. Okay, I'm going to import library. Also here, I'm going to use implement constructor. Key should be nullable. Okay, so back to bidder list, we can import library here. Okay, so we don't have any error in this file, so we can save it for our bidder card. And first I'm going to use our random color, so inside this one, and I'm going to use random. Basically it should from the map. I think it's from the map package. I'm going to import dark mask, right? Okay, so we have this random object. So inside the container, I'm going to return a row. It should be a row widget, right? And then we have another row, and we have a colon. Okay, so we're going to use a row widget. So I also need to set it is cross alignment and main axis alignment. So for the main axis alignment, should be space between, and for it is cross axis alignment should be star. Okay, that's for and then we're going to have a container. So the container basically I'm going to give it height 50, width 50 as well, and we have a decoration using box decoration. I'm going to change its shape using box shape, circle, and also the color. So for the color, we're going to use a random pink list, and we use this random next int. Okay, so this way we're going to pick a random number from 1 to 10, right? Because in here we have a random color from 1 to 10. Okay, so and after that we give a outside this container. I'm going to use sized box, give some space for sized box. It should be width set to 10, and also another second row should be a colon. So inside the colon, we're going to first set its cross alignment to start. Then for it is child, we're going to use a text widget, right? So it should be bit placed by and then use our header.name. Okay. Also need to style it. Constant text style. Going to place the font weight, bold, right, and also font size 16. Okay, we can save now. So this is for the text. It's hard to see here. Okay, let's try to use it. So go back to this detail. So in here, and I'm going to use a tab view, right? So inside TabBar, oh sorry, should be a TabBar view. Inside this TabBar view, I'm going to implement it is required, which is a child. Then we're going to use so bidder list, right? Import library. So for the key, be first, and for this one, we have this art object. So we're going to use art dot first, right? So this is the first one. We can copy, and for the other one is a history, right? So for the first one, I just left it empty. So I just use empty list view and make it empty. So for our first one, okay, let's save. Okay, now you'll be able to see this, right? Those two lists. And we're going to place a constant keyword here, right? And also by default, we're going to set this initial index. I'm going to change to 1. Okay, so let's save. And we click this back button. So next time, when I change this one, by default, this first TabBar will select. So let's go back to our bidder card. So after this text widget, and consider using size the box, give some space, set the height to 10, and then going to use another text widget. So in here, because we're going to format the datetime, so I consider using this library called inl, right? So I'm going to install it. Okay, back to pub.yaml PC file to import library. Okay, we are going to import library here. So let's back to, where is it? Okay, in here. Then we will be able to use the date format. Okay, date format dot I think it's this one, and dot format, going to format our bidder.date, right? And this is first one. Also we use okay, here going to access our bidder.date hour, and okay, sorry, so the last one would be bidder date minutes. Okay, That's it. And we're going to style it. So we're using text style, constant text style, change its color. Gray 400. Okay. I think we have error because we have this constant keyword, so I'm going to remove it. Okay, that's all for this day, and we can save. Now we're able to see we have this date coming. Yeah, it's the same format. Okay, that's for this column, and we're going to implement our second row. So let's copy this entire stuff, and we'll place it in our row widget, right? So after this row, and I'm going to have our test widget, which will have our reader dot price, and I forgot this single quote. Okay, and use ATH and style it using text style. So text style, I'll change the font weight, bold, and also font size. I think 14. Okay, I add the constant keyword. Okay, let's save. So now it's pretty similar like this prototype. Okay, and I think this container is unnecessary, so we can remove it. Okay, let's save. Now everything seems good, right? We finished this part as well, and you can scroll up. Okay, so I think there's one more thing we need to do. So first we close all of them, and we need to find our detail.dar in the Sliver persistent header. After this one, I'm going to have this attribute I'm going to set to true. Then this tab bar will stick on the top, right? So this time when I scroll up, this tab bar will stick on the top. Okay, very good. So let's back to design file. So last one is list button. So I think should be pretty easy, right? So let's create a file under this widgets folder, and I'm going to call it byte button .dar, and it should be a stay list widget. Byte button, and import library. Okay, so for this container, I'm going to keep the width double dot max vanity, and also for its trial, and I consider using raw material button. So first, I'm going to give some padding. The symmetric, horizontal, 20, right? Using a constant keyword, and also give the height. Going to give it for 56. And for its trial, I'm going to use a raw material button and fill the color, which is the button color. And we have a shape, which is a rounded rectangle border. Rounded rectangle border. I'm going to change it as border radius. Using border radius dot circular set to 15 is enough. And then we have elevation set to 0. Then I have a child. I'm going to use a container. So inside this container, I have a child, which is a text widget. Write it now. Implement it style. So I'm going to use text style. Change the color to white and also font weight to bold. Okay, I think it's unnecessary, this container, so we can remove it. But for this text widget, I'm going to use a constant keyword, and also the compressed method. I just leave it empty now. Okay, and I'm going to use inside this detail.dart file. I'm going to place it in our floating action button. So let's back to this detail.dart and going to find this scaffold, right? After this default tab controller, and we have this floating action button, so you can just use this byte button and import library as well. And we can use a constant keyword, right? And also for it is floating button location, I'm going to use floating action button location dot center float. Okay, so let's save, and you will be able to see our byte button float on the center. Okay, yes, it's pretty good, huh? I think we kind of finished this entire application. Yeah, it's a little bit complex since you're using a native custom scroll view with the TabView and TabBar. But it's very good example for you to learn the Flutter to build very complex Flutter UI. Okay, that's all for today's video. So don't forget to subscribe to my channel, thumb up my content, and open the notification so you won't miss out the latest Flutter tutorial. Okay, thanks for watching. I will see you in the next video.